Wait, I'm gonna do it like this. And like this maybe, and that should be okay. Message speed, text, auto, animation. I would like to see it, but sure. Scene text, all text, stops after choices, skip after choices. Okay. Let's see what this is about. Apparently we're going to be raising our childhood friend. I think his name was Alex. But since I have the DLCs, I don't know if it's gonna be like choices matter. Can I continue actually? Like, did I start it at any point? I don't think so. No, it's tutorial. Okay, so I never started it. I don't know why I have the continue option. Our life, tutorial time. Welcome to our life, beginnings and always. There are various ways you can customize and interact with the game. This tutorial is an overview of how certain features work. You can read the full tutorial from the main menu to learn about everything in detail. To start off, the game is divided into 4 time periods called steps. Step 1, childhood. Step 2, adolescence. Step 3, young adulthood. And step 4, adulthood. Our life is further divided into sets of vignettes that take place during specific periods of time. Those are called moments. Moments can be played in any order or skipped entirely. You move on to the next step whenever you want by selecting that summer is ending. Steps 1 to 3 include 5 moments each, and even more can be unlocked by purchasing DLCs. Some are out now and other DLCs will release later. Step 4 is an epilogue and doesn't include moments. A lot happens over the years that go by, especially in regard to the character you play as. You determine nearly everything about the main character: name, appearance, personality, pronouns, interests, skills, their relationship with major characters, and so on. You can decide to change the details as time goes on, with a few exceptions. Your last name, skin tone, and eye color can be altered once set. Much of the MC's basic traits are determined on a character creation screen. As the MC grows up, more options become available on the screen. As mentioned, one of the decisions you'll get to make for your character is selecting a name. You can type in any name you like, or you can pick a present name. Preset options are called voiced names because the name will be voiced aloud by the romantic lead. You'll get to hear him say your name as you play through the story. Only the default name Jamie is included in the base game. Hundreds more can be added by getting a free voice name expansion DLC. The full collection of names is separated out as a DLC because of how large it is. If you're not interested in that feature, you don't need to get it. Each name in the DLC belongs to or was selected by someone who supported this project. On the character creation screen, there's a cute doll you can decorate to get an idea of what your MC looks like with the different traits we put together. Note, not all the things you decide about the MC appear on the doll. The script referencing what you've decided for the MC is the main way those decisions influence the game. Our life has a first-person perspective, so your character doesn't appear next to other character sprites. You only see the MC as the decorative doll and in special cut-in CG images. The cut-in CGs only appear if the certain choices are made. It's possible not to see any during a playthrough. There's also a second type of special MC-based screen, the Interest Comfort screen. Unless you get DLCs, the game has one love interest, Cove Holder. He grows up with the MC, and the Interest Comfort screen is crucial for determining how that plays out. Interest level sets how much you like him. There are 4 levels: Disinterest, Fond, Crush and Love. Love is only available starting in step 3, and if you were at Fond or Crush in step 2. Comfort determines how you generally think when it comes to him. There are 3 levels: nervous, relaxed and direct. Your level of interest and comfort will set the type of dynamic your character has with the love interest. What you did in the past will influence the present, and feelings can change over time. You get to pick your interest comfort near the beginning of every step. Comfort can switch between the 3 levels as you please. Your interest level can only stay the same or increase. Okay, so we're not losing the interest level. Actually, I would like it if we could lose it. If we could, if my best friend told me that he wishes my cat dies, I would be like, bitch, don't talk to me anymore. So you can fuck up your relationship pretty easily, right? Right? Your current level of interest will become the new lowest option on the screen in the future. For example, if you decide to be fond in step 1, this interest will not be available on the screen in steps 2 and 3, which will make fond the bottom level option for your relationship. Interest level has an impact when it comes to physically interacting with Cove. While growing up, things are rather simple. If you get along with one another and have a close relationship, you can choose to touch him, and Cove will occasionally interact with the MC in light-hearted or comforting ways. But starting in step 3, touching can become more romantic or suggestive if you're at crush or love. PG-13, I hope. To make sure things go nicely with that, there will be an extra choice to determine initiative level, and a bonus mini tutorial that goes along with the choice to explain the feature in more detail. Basically, even if you decide you like Cove, the game won't force you to act on those feelings. You can always choose not to get together with him, choose not to accept or give romantic gestures, etc. If you decide to date Cove, though, you can't break up with him later. Interest comfort gets the basics down, but it's the choices that appear throughout the normal game events that decide what actually happens between the MC and Cove. And it is only the MC who is impacted by your decisions. Cove grows and changes over the years. How he's treated and what he experiences help shape who he becomes. In step 2 and step 3, Cove personality, appearance and interest will vary based on what happened in previous steps. Oh, that's interesting, that's nice. Okay, so I can't stop liking him, but he perhaps cannot like me, I guess? It's something of a mystery exactly how your decisions end up changing him. You can try to guess as you go along. Or, if you prefer, you can also just design your own ideal Cove directly using the Cove Creator option that pops up at the beginning of steps 2 and 3. No, I want him to grow up naturally. Making the choices you want is always more important than making a choice because you feel like you have to in order to get a certain result. When a choice does appear, usually you'll see that hovering the cursor over an option shows a certain color, yellow, blue or green. The colors aren't related to specific points or effects, they're only there to give a bit of insight of the tone, emotion of the choice, since text alone can potentially be read in more than one way. Blue tends to be casual, straightforward, yellow more emotive, reactive, and green less certain and committed. Though there are hundreds of options in our life, and only every choice menu falls in line of that pattern. Picking just one color every time doesn't give a gameplay benefit, only stick to a certain type if that's what you happen to like, otherwise switch between them freely. Always pick yellow, never pick yellow, pursue romance right from the start, never romance the love interest be disagreeable or unamiable, none of them will lead to a bad ending. That sucks. I like bad endings. You're welcome to enjoy the event and shape the story without reservation, and then if you like you can play again to try something new. There's only ever more good content to discover. I mean, I like bad endings, but on the other hand, I guess this is supposed to be like a good story for Cove and for us, so maybe that's why you don't get the bad ending ever. Okay, we hope you have a nice time with our life. Thank you for playing. Okay, so now we're making ourselves. I'm pale as fuck. I guess like this? Okay, we'll go with blue, I guess. Like this? I think that's good. Wait, I need to see if all my DLCs are downloaded. I don't know how many I have. I have the wedding one. Oh, okay, I don't have the voice name expansion, that's why. Yeah, that's one of the ones I don't have. I have the ones that expand the gameplay, yeah. Okay. We are at day. Actually, you know, right now I have a I have a scar like this. Like, it's not a scar, but I have a scratch like that right now on me because I was on the bed and my cat was running on the bed, and at some point she was running on my cheek. I have small hands. Like, I guess chubby would be the best. I don't think I want glasses. Like, I have glasses at home, but I just never wear them. I have one on my leg, technically, even a few, but I don't know how they would look like. Ah! What? Uh-huh. Or maybe like this. Sure. I have a lot of birthmarks. Like, you know, like this one. Sometimes. Okay, let's go. Summer in Sunset Bird was a special time. Was a special time of year. Your usually sleepy town began to bustle. It was a popular tourist destination with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of school-less vacation with it. During the summer, your moms didn't like you to wander too far outside your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to the nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant that the familiar, friendly residents waved or asked how your family was, or most often just said hello. You didn't really get why they always had to say hi, they saw you every day, but you nodded back at them anyway. You ended up saying hi to a lot of different people since most of the tourists who that came and went every summer were the same ones. You were too anxious to say hi back to most of the other residents that greeted you, but they all knew you well enough to expect that. I would just not. I would be like, that's a very Polish way to go through life. I wouldn't start. I would just nod back or say hello back. I wouldn't be the one saying hello first. Unless it's an elderly person that I personally know, like a teacher or my auntie, then I will say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello. It was the polite thing to do after all. And your moms had taught you to always be respectful. But today there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over, and you wondered if he was even a real person or a statue that had magically sprung up from the ground overnight. Oh, whoever or whatever he was, you had never seen him before. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was that people who you didn't recognize really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your moms called it, so for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your moms had a talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. You hadn't exactly been listening at the time. You think it would be okay to talk to new people. They mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types of people can help you even if you don't know them. You remember that it's okay to run away if you feel uncomfortable. You don't have to worry about being polite then. I mean, this is me as a kiddo, and so I would be like, not to strangers most of the time, but I was never taught not to be polite. So if I would be like, if someone would talk to me first, I would answer. I would just look very uncomfortable because I was anxious ever since I was little. You weren't sure about this man yet. Still, you felt a bit scared knowing that he was blocking the way to your front door, but you were pretty interested and you wanted to know more about what was going on. Whether he was nice or not, you didn't want to be bothered. You slowed down as you thought about how you would get around this. Probably going to say something now that he's seen you standing around here. Hey! You're right, his deep voice called out to you, but you didn't say anything. Unfortunately. Wait, my ears are starting to ache again. Jesus. This is ridiculous. Okay. Unfortunately, the man stood up and started... to make his way toward you. Not wanting to seem too approachable, you folded your arms and stared. Still unsure about him, but willing to be friendly, you offered the stranger a smile. Your whole body was frozen in place as he approached. I would do this, but I wouldn't be willing to be friendly. I would be like, okay, it's polite to be friendly, I should be friendly now, I should be nice to people. I would be both of these. Not this, but both of these. And I do all like okay. The man gives a grin of his own back. God damn. He's kinda fine, but if I understand it correctly, I am a child right now. Do you live around here? What's your name? You look at the man up and down, taking in his tanned skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed. The way he was acting wasn't. He had sharks on his shorts and a stingray tattoo, and you wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. While you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for an answer to his question. Yeah, I live here. I live right there. My name is Machi. Yeah, tell him exactly where you live. That's smart. Yeah, I'm from around here. That's great. He looked happy to hear it, giving you a broad smile. You're giving me money for this? It's great you live here. Here, have 20 bucks. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill. It crinkled in his head as he held it up to you. Even more confused than before, you looked back at him. Well? Could you do me a favor? Nothing but, sorry, I should have... Let me start over. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. I think we need the voices to be... I feel like the voices should be louder. So let's check this. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. From where you were standing, it made him look creepier. I have a son. His name is Cove. Who's about your age? Cove. That seems like a strange name for an actual living person to you. You chewed on the inside of your cheek. This guy was definitely obsessed with water. You thought that was pretty cool. What did he say again? What was cool? The fact that he pulled out money for me? Wait. Broad smile. I mean, that's a nice name. I know people in English-speaking countries can be called Danger. So I guess it's a nice name. Honestly, I mean, I wouldn't do this. I guess that's pretty cool. You've never met anyone with that name. We moved in across the street, see? He gestured towards the house that has been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight and reflecting off the walls. The gigantic for sale sign was finally gone. You must be Machi Halter, right? I met your moms earlier and they told me you were 8, just like him, so... He shook that $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smile tilting his lips at the corners. Can you try to be friends with the boy? Just give it a chance and you can keep this. He's a good kid, you'll like him.
Do you mind?
You don't have to pay me for this. That's so sad. But you've gotta keep it a secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. You ate the man, you kinda feel sorry for Kov. Did other kids really get their parents to pay for friendship? I kinda feel sorry for him. Like, imagine you're being so lonely and so sad that your parents have to pay other kids in the neighborhood to play with you. I feel sorry for him. This definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends, you knew that. What'd you say? Want to make a deal? You took the bill, you didn't want the money, you ran away. I don't want the money. No, thank you, sorry. You deflated enough to notice, but not completely.
Are you sure?
Are you sure? It won't be so bad, even if it's just for the sunlight, it will be enough. That only made the sound more strange to you. Why does it last for the Why does it lasting for the summer matter? When it was clear his initial strategy wasn't going to fly, he tucked the bill into a back pocket and changed the request. I get it, you don't have to. Would you be comfortable with he and I coming for a normal visit? No money involved. Okay. Yeah, I wanna meet him. Okay, you can do that, I guess. You'd have to ask my moms. You didn't answer them, man. Yeah, I wanna meet him. Like, I don't mind meeting him, I just don't want to be paid for it, that's rude. His smile got bigger again. His eyes crinkled at the sides. I'll bring him by tomorrow. I wanted him to meet and greet with the neighbors today, but... well, I don't know where he's gotten off to. He laughed when he said that, but with the way his face looked you thought he actually wanted to cry. If you see him, can you tell him to come on home? He's got a pink cast and glasses. You can't miss it. Sure thing. I can try. Okay. Sure. Why not? This definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends. You knew that, but you were still going to help. No, that's normal. Like, that's normal. If you move somewhere and your parents take you to see the neighbors, like, that's a normal way to make friends when you're little kids. I'm pretty sure that's how many friendships started. It's just, the money pay. The man smiled and reached out to pat you on the head, paused before doing so, then pulled his hand away instead. Your moms are already checking around for me. Such a thoughtful group you are. Now I better go look too. Can't put everyone else to work while I keep sitting here. I thought he might come back, and that's not what's important. I have to go. Thanks again, Machi. So much. He jogged off down the street without other word. You decided to check the hills behind your house. Oh, am I gonna meet him here? First sight. Let's go. The chirping of crickets in the tall grass greeted you, quiet and familiar. From the top of the hill you could see the ocean. As you walked, you listened to the crash of the waves on the shore, the seagulls squawking as they settled down for the night. You've always loved the ocean, it was so much fun. You've loved to hear stories about the sea, about the merfolk and sea serpents you imagined living far beneath the waves. You didn't enjoy the beach all that much, especially the sand, which got absolutely everywhere. Both of these. When I was a kid, I loved both swimming in the sea in my whatever. I don't think anymore. Sorry, it's kinda getting late. Yeah, in my case, it was the sea, not the ocean. Here. Well, and I always imagined that I am a little mermaid when I was playing in the sea. Hmm. I guess what I liked more was the stories, because I always liked stories, so sometimes you could almost convince yourself you had seen the flash of a shiny mermaid tail in the distance. You took in a deep breath. You wanted to try to relax and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone, so you glanced around. He just sits next to me. Like I went there, I sat down and I didn't notice that I sat next to another person. There was a boy sitting on the top of one hill, almost completely hidden within the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead by himself. For whatever reason, probably just that he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a little bit like you'd found a deer in the wild. Though deer didn't have green hair, wavy eyebrows, huge glasses, pink eyes, sad frowns. I mean, I would probably notice that he's sad. I wouldn't care about the glasses that much. But this new boy did. You wondered what could have upset him. After a few more seconds, you took a step forward, then another. And then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him and show you weren't scary. Hi. Hey, space cadet. Are you lost? Hi. With a start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his sides. He's so baby. He didn't say anything, just stared at you in a strange way. He'd been crying. There were traces of tears in his cheeks and his knees, soaking the hem of his shorts, and his eyes were still shining with a few more. You'd obviously caught him off guard. His pink cast seemed to glow in the twilight, though when he caught you staring at it, he hid his arm behind his back. Something the man earlier had said stuck out to you. Cough? His eyes wide as he stared at you. How do you know that? I met your dad. I'm all knowing. Lucky guess. As a kid, I was a good and honest person. I was always, the one who studied, the one responsible, so I would just tell him the truth and try to comfort him, probably.
Oh,
so is that your hill? He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. I can leave if it is. Yep, you can't own a hill. You shook your head. I shook my head like, no, you don't need to leave. It's not mine. While doing so, you also picked at the strand of lint on your leg. What a weird question to ask someone. Oh. He sat back down with a thumb, pressing his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, you sat on the patch of grass next to him. The pure white flowers that covered this hill rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean and up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun. Why are you here? Why'd your family move? You don't ask that. You didn't ask that when you know him for like 5 minutes. Why are you here? A quiet hiccup escaped Cove as soon as you asked the question. Almost like they'd never stopped, his tears started up again with a vengeance. My parents. They don't want to live together with me anymore. The tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking in his dark lashes. My mom made my dad leave and he took me with him, and now we have a house here and I want to go home. The outburst took you off guard. By the time he was done wailing, Kov's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping at his eyes with the back of his hand before he put them back on again. I hate this place. I want my real life back. I want my mom. I'm sorry. Your dad seems kinda nice. He doesn't. He wanted to pay me to be friends with. He has no faith in his son. You'll like it here. You just have to get used to it. Stop crying. This one or this one? If I was a kid, would I understand that it's not something that I would just say that I'm sorry, honestly. Like, back in the day when I was little, divorce seemed like the biggest nightmare in my little child's mind. He slipped his hand underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelids. Kov wound himself up again for another long crying fit. You felt bad for him being forced to come here with no choice. You couldn't imagine what it would feel like to live with only one of your moms, but it must be pretty hard. But from way off in the distance, you heard your parents. Machi!
Kov?
Oh. Kids, where did you go? Kov looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Don't tell them we're here.
I want to go home.
I don't want to go back to that house. I want to go home. You can handle it. You have to go. Don't worry so much. Sorry, I have to. It will be okay. It will be okay. You were struck by a sudden need to reassure Kov. It's not gonna be all fun, but isn't he your family too? Yeah, I guess. Then you can count on him when you really, really need him. You shot him a grin and pushed yourself to your feet. Slowly, Kov stood up with you, still looking a little reluctant. His dad's voice rang out again. Kov, can you hear me? He looked towards the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away while rubbing his not-bandaged arm.
Sorry.
Sorry, I still don't want to go. You called out yourself, you waited silently with him, you tried to convince him. I waited with him. I wasn't a snitch. I wasn't a snitch. My brat made sure I wouldn't be a snitch. I would take his hand and wait with him. Yeah, I get it. You do? Before you could answer, you heard Kov's dad even closer than before. There you are, bud. The trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Instantly, all their eyes landed on you and they rushed over. Damn, my mama's fine! God damn! Both of your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. Machi, you're here after all. We had been at the park to check for Kov and then heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off farther away. No, we were just sitting in the grass. Why is everybody acting like this is such a big thing? We're okay, don't worry. Kov didn't want to go home just yet. I'm not snitching. We were just sitting. We were chilling. Thank God we were fine. Were you two having fun out there? You looked over at Kov, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing at his arms. You shrugged. Yes, I like him. He's good. I think I'm gonna marry him. I wouldn't say that. I would say that I like him. You know that, smiling slightly. Finally letting go of his squirming, scowling son, Kov's dad turned to the three of you.
That's a relief.
Thanks very much for finding him. I really don't know this neighborhood. Good thing Machi knows the whole area so well. Absolutely. We should be getting home now. It's been a long day for us all. Say goodbye, Cove.
Bye.
So cute. Little baby. The two of them walked off into the darkness, heading towards the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. Tell you what, we'll have a proper play date tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Lizzie. How does that sound? Sure, I can show him my stuff. It sounds like words. True. You nodded, ducking your head down. Either this or this. I mean, I think I would be more like this. Like, I was shy with strange kids, but when I knew they have to interact with me, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play with them, because they have to play with me, so it's okay. We are both forced into this situation, we have to make the best of it.
Of course.
Then okay. Both your moms laughed, and the sound overlapped into a warm, familiar chorus. Mommy put her arm around your shoulder and led you towards the path. Satisfied and more than a little ready to go to bed after your long, exciting day, you followed them home. Yay! Change your feelings for Cove. This is how you feel towards Cove for this step. It can change in later steps. As a kiddo... I guess font, and I guess, let's save it actually. I think since he was even more nervous than I was, I would feel pretty relaxed because I would take the caretaker role, knowing myself. Like, I would think of him as another of my cousins. You won't be able to change it until step 2. Yes. I don't think I need to have a crush on him since I was a kid. At the breakfast table the next morning you finished your food faster than usual. Your sister Lizzie had run out earlier to go play, but she'd stay put. Today, just like your moms had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Excited to see you and your friend again, Machi? Yes, I am!
How sweet.
How sweet, I'm so happy he moved in.
Okay.
With that said, are you done with your breakfast? Yeah! I don't know, am I? Your bowl was entirely empty, so you nodded. I would just say yeah. With all the expiration on an 8-year-old can master, you looked at your empty cereal bowl, then at Mom.
Okay.
Okay, edited kid, we see. Good job, good job. He should be here soon. Clean up began, and then on cue there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure they were in the right place. Still loud though. We need to get a more obvious doorbell. I know. Machi, could you get it? Wiggling out of your chair, without really pushing it back, you made your way to the door. Hi there! Hey, Halter family, thanks for having us! Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room, and when he wasn't crying. With his dad standing in front of him and Mom and Mommy behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. Pleased to see your new friend again, you smiled at Cove. He smiled back with some hesitation. Aww! You twisted the threaded bracelet on your wrist, you twisted the crystal bead bracelet on your wrist, the flower bead on your wrist. Shell bracelet. I would probably have flower bracelet. Now let's go play in my room.
Okay.
Take care.
Let us know if you need anything, you two. Have fun, kids.
See you.
See you later, son. Play nice. My room's so cute. You led him to your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There were lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, a window to look out. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. He leaned in a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall. I like this. Me too. I drew that. Thank you. I don't. I'll be like, thank you. You're welcome. You smiled at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art, and you were glad he noticed it. He turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on the walls. You started to feel a bit nervous, you felt the atmosphere was kind of awkward, you were glad for the company, he hoped you liked your room. I would start feeling nervous. You wanted to say something but didn't know what, so you let him keep looking. Then his eyes landed on the tiny box of beach things you'd collect, tucked away by your door. He took a step towards it before hesitating and pointing at it instead. What's that? A hoard of stuff I found on the beach.
Oh.
Do you have any driftwood in there? Dragging the box into the middle of the room, you and Cove flopped down next to it. I think so. Yeah, see? You gestured to a piece of the bottom, still covered with specks of sand.
Neat.
Neat! This is a good collection. You got the sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice or to be like Shiloh, he actually meant it. Oh right, I almost forgot. Shiloh is gonna be here today. Shiloh? Lizzie's friend, or like her #1 fan, I guess? Do I have to see him? It should be okay. I mean, he's Lizzie's friend, not mine, but you know. Come on, check out my shelves for some more. I found this one under a big piece of seaweed that had washed ashore, and you pulled out seashells after seashell, explaining where you'd gotten each one and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple and orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. Over the past few years, you'd even learned some of their scientific names. The collection was so huge and varied that you had lots of funny stories to tell of all of them. Your voice faltered a little bit, but you kept going as best as you could. If I was gathering seashells, and if I would be making a collection out of it, being a nerdy self that I am, I would learn the scientific names. You had a whole picture book dedicated to different shells and sea life. You'd learn a lot by flipping through its pages. I was reading so much about animals when I was a kid. Apparently fascinated either by the stories or by the shells themselves, Cove listened with what looked like the full force of his attention. It was a new experience to be the center of such dedicated focus, but Cove hadn't been mean to you, so you didn't mind. You smiled at him every now and then while showing him your collection. Kids, come down to the living room! You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mommy wasn't giving you much of a choice to hang around. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you. You guessed it was because he thinks you found each other by accident, not that a parent made it happen. Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you'd both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shiloh's visit. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway. I brought the box of shells. I wanna keep looking at them. Okay, but be careful. You should have asked. Okay, but be careful. I will. You weren't sure if you could trust someone else with your treasures yet, so you sat next to him while he opened the lid and peered inside. Cove reached in and pulled out a big orange shell. Oh. Like he hadn't spoken aloud yet, he turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining. I think this one is the best of them. That's my favorite too. I like a different one the best. I can show it to you. You can take it. Honestly, like, that's a fun fact. I work with people. And sometimes I bring things to my work, and if someone is like, oh, this is cute, this is fun, this is nice, or even like if someone sees something, like if someone comes over and sees something nice at my place, I'm like, well, take it. Like, that's just me. I'm like, well, if you like it, then you can just take it. I don't care, I want you to be happy. And those are like small things, like a small plushie or a certain kind of pencil or pen, or I don't know, anything really. I'm like, just, yeah, take it. I like giving small gifts to people, so yeah, you can take it. Cove look at you in surprise. His eyes glow. His eyes growing white. Wait, I need to drink something. My voice is really not good after that start again stream. That's why I'm not really doing voices today. His eyes going wide. Really? Sure, you like it a lot, right? Uh-huh, but I don't want to take it from you. It's okay. You got the impression that he was hesitant to accept something because he didn't know you very well. You insisted, you let it go. I insisted. No, it's okay for you. You pushed the shell against Cove's chest, willing him to receive the present. But Cove firmly shook his head and kept his arm tightly at his sides. It was a battle you couldn't win, at least not today. Cove was your neighbor now. Maybe you could give it to him another time. The two of you were still sitting on the floor looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person hadn't knocked, you figured it was probably Shiloh. He knew where to look for that. Lizzie's friend? You nodded, but that didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It was already obvious that Cove didn't hide his feelings well. You could tell what he was thinking right away. This isn't a good idea. You'll be alright. He's here. We can tell him to leave. We can't tell him to leave. Jesus. Ah! He's at our only door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you. Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused with his gaze locked onto the back of the house. I can go out the window. He was already walking towards it. Scrambling to think of something to say, you stepped forward, then paused. Do you want to break your other arm? Shiloh is the least scary person alive. Cheer up, Shiloh's gonna like you. Please don't get hurt, I'll come with you. Good idea, let's go. I would grab him and be like, no you don't. No you don't. Please don't get hurt. I'm worried. What if something happens? The distance from the first floor living room window wasn't far, but you could tell it made Cove nervous anyway. He touched the cast on his arm. The wind had really released from his sails. I don't want to break any more bones. I don't think anyone wants to. Yeah. But I don't want to see him. I don't know him. You teased him, you comforted him, you encouraged him. I comforted him. It's okay if you're worried. Nobody warned you this was gonna happen. Thanks. Shiloh poked his head into the living room. It was impossible to know for sure if he'd heard what you'd been saying or not, but you guessed that he had.
Hi!
Oh. Okay, it's not someone to be scared of. That's such a cute baby. Hi, Matty! And, hi, Cove? Cove shot you in an easy glance.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Shiloh, it's nice to meet you. Yeah. You have a lot of freckles. Right, I do. What are you guys doing? We're looking at shells.
Can I do it too?
Oh, so baby. Awesome! Can I do it too? Cove shrugged, then looked back at your box of beach findings. What about that one? The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach things some more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else, especially if Cove was having fun. Hey, check out the scallop shell I found. Cool, right? It's a pretty color, kinda like my cast. The beautiful glittering pink did look a little bit like the wrap around his arm. Jesus. Pink is a nice color. Okay.
Oh?
Is it your favorite? Not really. What is? Maybe green or blue. It might be yellow. Oh, those are all cool.
I guess.
I like those colors too. There are better colors. Not sure how to deal with this suddenly more awkward silence. You look back at your shelf. There are better colors. Like, I would be like, actually, magenta is better. I really liked magenta as a kid. Says you. You poked your tongue out at Cove, trying not to laugh when he did the same thing in retaliation. Like usual, it didn't take long for Shiloh to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favorite. Without her around, Shiloh didn't seem to know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't that much like you either. Is Lizzie coming back? I don't know. Aww. Where'd she go? I think she's at the beach, probably. Is she playing at her park? Cove's eyes lit up at the moment of the mention of the park, and he looked towards you. There's a park? Yep, but it's old. Can you show me? I wanna go. He started getting up before you even had an answer, and Shiloh jumped up beside him in excitement. Really? You do? You do too, right, Machi? The park is fun! I love it, the park is really great. No. Even as a kid, I didn't like going out. But I would be like, yeah, it's pretty great, because I guess there are animals there, and I always like going to places where animals are. So as long as you were like, yeah, let's go to the beach, let's go to the park, let's go to the forest, I would be like, okay, sure. But if you were like, go play in the garden, I would be like, no freaking way, nope, I'm staying home with my cat or my dog. I mean, at 8 it would be like a dog. The park is pretty great. Oh, actually no. As an 8-year-old kid, I often went to playgrounds. So I think that's the best answer. Yeah, it's right at the beach, so there's lots of fun stuff to do and lots of sand. That sounds like it could be cool. So, are we going to find Lizzie? Wait a second, please. Okay. I don't know. I never really wanted to see her. I just want to check out the park out. Adrift without any direction, Shiloh finally turned to you. Okay. He perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It was only fair. After getting permission from your moms, the 3 of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your moms that it was so short she should always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey Lizzie! Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide. Machi! Shiloh! Hi! She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shiloh has abandoned you two and scrambled over to stand by her. You were used to being left out when it was just the 3 of you, but now Cope was here. You wondered if he would leave too. Who's that? Oh my god. She's so Valley girl. Who's that? It's Cove, he's new.
Hi.
I remember. Hi, Cove. Welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together. She gestures wildly with her arms, so if to present the area to the newcomer. While Lizzie continues talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wriggle your toes through the warm sand. Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes with... Fuck. In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. You are?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I am. Who else could handle the job? Lizzie is the oldest. By a lot. My mom said you match his age.
Yeah.
Thought so. I'm still the only one in this group with double digits. What about other kids? Other kids? There aren't any. We're the only kids here and Shiloh is just visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is the land of ancients. Be careful that the old isn't trying to steal your youth.
Oh.
For a second, it looked like he may cry again. Oh my god. But something in his eyes shifted and he looked back at Lizzie. What kind of old people? Like moms and dads and grandparents? Grandparents who don't have kids. They hate kids. Why? We haven't done anything. Only some of them don't like kids. Stop saying stuff like that, you're gonna upset them. Yeah, they're really bad. Stop saying stuff like that. You interjected quickly, hoping Cove wouldn't start crying again. He sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Shiloh was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation. I met Lizzie and Matty in school. You'll see tons of kids there once summer is over. I don't want to go to any school. I don't want summer to end. Shiloh looked down to the dirt. He hasn't had much luck striking up conversation with Cove. I like summer vacation a lot too. All the building tension in the air suddenly vanishes when Lizzie laughed. At Shiloh's discomfort, at how weird she thought Cove was, at something else entirely you didn't really know, but she laughed, face crunching up.
Okay.
Welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat, put up your feet, and get used to it. You offered him a small smile, and that at least looked to reassure him some. For the rest of the summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Shiloh, and on some days when she was in a bad mood or wasn't Shiloh him? Like, the only she here is, I think, our sister? Okay, and when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way sun and lunch and the beach were. During your first summer together, you really liked Cove. He was a fun person to play with, and he seemed to like playing with you too. Of course, that was only the start of things. Okay. So we have 10 things to do, and then the summer ends. So I think I can just end it right away. I don't have to do any of this. What hour is it? Okay, we can do 1 for sure. We'll see how long is it. I want to do them all, by the way. Like, we're not skipping those. Let's go for shopping. Come back before it gets dark, alright, Spot? The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the scenario you'd been watching inch slowly across the pavement. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face, from where the breeze was blowing it over with his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you first met Mr. Holden, although he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze and somehow, or maybe you made a noise, because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You've got to learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them of sand, then jogged over to join the two, smiling at Cove first and then at his dad. Machi, hi!
How's it going?
Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Machi? Taking a walk? I found a pretty cool snail across the road. There's lots of snails around here. Mr. Holden grinned at you kindly. After you finished answering the questions, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun. You know, Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him? You gave a ready nod, turning to squint in the direction of the stores like you could see the goods they had to offer all the way from where you stood. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I don't mind. Great, I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd since your moms only ever seemed to have cards in theirs. Here. He leaned in to pass a crisp $10 to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend too. Sure.
Good kid.
That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he was straightening back up. The bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care! Cove accepted the bill after a second and split it into his pocket. Then, with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking. You followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities this outing might bring. Cove straight towards the gentle tide creeping up the sand, and you fell onto place beside him. It was a nice day, the sun was shining and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. You took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you looked at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. Are you looking for snails? Are you looking for shells? What is it? You don't feel like you need to ask. For shells. Cove started a little at the sound of your voice and mumbled sort of. If you see any, you can let me know. You could manage that. You dropped your view to the sand, walking carefully so you didn't step on any. You were good at finding shells. You had a lot of them at home and always found new ones whenever you visited the beach. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times, and although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. You didn't either. What did you want to go to the shops for? What do you usually do on the beach? Why do you want to shop? I need a new sand pail. Yeah? What happened to your old one? Cove narrowed his eyes, seeming to think deeply for a second.
Whoa.
It disappeared. What? Really? Cove ducked his head down, lacing his fingers behind his back. It didn't seem like he was going to continue, so you nudged his arm. How did it happen? Well... Cove opened his mouth, then shut it again, considering. I took it to the beach one day. Uh-huh. When I got home, it wasn't anywhere. You left it there? Nope, it wasn't at the beach when I went back. Then you lost it. It disappeared.
So...
What about you? What do you want to do out there? What do you want to do out here? I didn't come to the beach a lot. I like swimming, I like looking at fish, I like to build sandcastles, nothing. either this or that. When I was 8, I feel like this is, a child's doing. When I was a little girl, I used to get a bucket because we would go to the beach near the sea, but also near a small lake that was going into the sea, right? And so there were a lot of fishes there, and it was pretty shallow. So I could quite easily catch the young fishes into a bucket, and I was doing it often. So yeah, with is it called a sole? Just a sole? I need to check, wait a moment. I don't think, but it's either one or the other. I think it's this one. Yeah, common sole, yeah. It was either a sole or a flounder. I'm not sure, it was small and I was small. I like looking at fish. They don't like me, so they always swim away if I get close. But they're pretty before that. Cool, starfish are fun. They aren't going anywhere even if you touch them. A small laugh escaped you. That's true. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. It was nice. The energy surrounding the area seemed to fill you, and there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at all the familiar sights. There were so many things to do, you didn't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just as excited as you were. Cove was glancing from one side of the streets to the other with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove pointed to a large crowd of people gathering near a few tables with large, colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Feast your eyes at the amazing Alexander. In the center of the crowd was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had 3 long tails. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read "The Amazing Alexander" in glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on a sign? Cove hummed with understanding, then turned to walk away just as the amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. Maybe we could stay and watch? Cove glanced back at the man. He then briefly lifted his arm up of his sides before returning them to place. You grinned, waving for him to follow you as you raced back to stand in the crowd. With that it began. The magic man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a 4 of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through a few of the adults and onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers and the card just disappeared. Wow! The amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? Tell me! I would be either this or that, but considering I am here with a friend who is more socially awkward than I am, I would be more excitable, because I would feel the responsibility to be the life of the party, so he feels more party-like too. This had to be going somewhere and you needed to find out. He smelled like popcorn and candy when he stepped closer. It was great! You felt the tug and then he pulled the 4 of diamonds from behind your ear. Well, you knew that it couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't know how he'd done it. There was light applause from the crowd and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being a normal circle. And one for your friend too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow! Now we were really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does it every time he visits. Not the balloons, the stuff with cards. Cove spoke plainly, while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. I really can't read today. This is the last thing we're going through. Maybe it wasn't so special. Cove is bringing fun. At least you had a fun time. You wonder if Cove's whole family was magic. Honestly, this one. If so, he was lucky. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed to the side there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display. You picked up a kaleidoscope, you picked up a Rubik's Cube, magic 8 ball, walked past the toys. Honestly, as a kid I didn't care for any of those because I couldn't for the life of it solve a Rubik's Cube, so I was always mad at them because it was their fault, not mine. With a kaleidoscopes were just funny to look at, but they weren't like good toy. I didn't know what to do with it other than just look at it, and looking at it was boring. I was easily bored as a kid, and I don't think I have ever encountered a magic 8 ball in my youth. So, walk past the toys. You briefly looked over the rack of toys, thinking that they could be interesting to look at, but you didn't really feel in the mood at the moment. Cove picked up one of the kaleidoscopes and looked through, twisting the tube at the end. After a second, he set it back on the rack, moving to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. Did you have places like this in your old town? Are you having fun? I don't really like it here. You said nothing. I would ask. Cove blinked at you for a moment, and you wondered if you shouldn't have asked. You knew how much he missed that place. Not really. You nodded in understanding, looking over at the stall nearby. Aww. While Cove looked at some pails, you were drawn to a table with colorful keychains laid out on it. They were sewn in the shape of sea creatures, and there were a plaque that read, "Handmade, standing proudly in front." There were lots of different types. You saw a dolphin, a shark, a crab, a turtle. I would take a turtle. Or a dolphin. As a kid. Now I would pick a shark. Not because I think I'm edgy or something, just sharks are really fucking cute. I watched so many like water puppy videos with sharks on TikTok, and for dolphins it was the other way around. So right now I would pick a shark. But as a kid, probably a turtle. Your hand stopped on the sleeping turtle, just barely poking its head out of the shell. It had flecks of metallic green on its back that caught the sunlight when you picked it up. You remembered the turtles you had seen in a movie. You had been mesmerized by the way they gently glided through the water. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price though, your heart fell. $6. You didn't know much about money, but you thought that was a lot to spend on one thing. You rarely had more than $5 bill to your name. Is that what you want? Huh? Oh, it's $6. I didn't bring any money.
Alright.
That's fine. Really? Really? Are you sure? Hooray! You don't have to. I don't want you to get it for me. One of these two? Right now it would be this or this. As a kid... Still this. Are you sure? Cove took the keychain from your hands, and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself too. I was always gonna get you something. I already got the money for it. You smiled, pleased to have things work out. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you too. You had to remember to thank him next time you saw him. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examine it thoroughly. Hey, Cove. Yeah? Your dad gives out money a lot, huh? I really like this keychain. Never mind, I really like this keychain. Thank you. It's nice. Cove looked further down the street, where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach, and just as he did, yours let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all of this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's get some food. Yeah. You two wandered around a short while, looking at all the delicacies that were available. What? Can I go back? Fuck, go back. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over to you, your stomach growled even louder. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you... Plain one with cheese, with sprinkles, with chocolate, got the same. I love cinnamon. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed your pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. Your mom didn't like you to eat too much sugar, but this was a special occasion. The little cup of icing looked too delicious to pass on. You found an empty table close enough to the beach, not the bench, that the grit of the sand made terrible noises even when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. Second? These balloons are gonna make it hard to eat. Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree, but an idea hit you. I know! After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere it wouldn't get sandy, you tucked the balloon dolphin out of Cove's hands and tied it in a delicate bow around his wrist.
Oh.
Cute. Cove bounced his arm up and down in a place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostle around but remain attached, he smiled, satisfied. Can you do it for me? He repeated the ritual. Cove struggled somewhat with the cast restricting his fingers on one hand and a string already tangled around the other.
Okay.
Got it! The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue with a smile as you looked over the ocean. After a time you finished your pretzel. You were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping through the air. If you turned to face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from his side. When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining part of his pretzel on the wrapper and he was gripping his dolphin too. My name is Merryweather. I see. He's the prince of the dolphins. I didn't know Mary rebranded. Oh my god. I think you can tell what kind of VTuber scene I am watching actively from the references I'm making usually. My name's Splash. They star in movies. My name's Cherry. She's actually an alien. My name's Sam. They're just a regular dolphin. Well, mine would probably be a fairy. I think alien is the closest to a fairy, so... When no one is looking, she transforms back into her true alien self. She has purple skin and 10 eyes. You sighed, wishing you could meet a real life alien. What's yours? Kov considered this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across in contemplation. It's... With a loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons. Oh no! For a second, all Kov did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw tears start to glisten. Machi, You made a joke, you offered to find Alexander, you offered to give Kov your balloon, you didn't say anything, he would be alright. I would give him mine. You looked at Kov, then up to your balloon, bobbing gently in the air above you. You can have mine. That was better than letting him cry more. Kov sniffled, glancing up at the balloon, then back at you. No, it's yours. I didn't want to take it from you. It's okay, really. Kov shook his head. Even though it wasn't your fault, you felt bad. Still, the offer seemed to lift Kov's spirits, and that was good. The passing of Kov's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Kov went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset, fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been a good one, except for the sad final note. Okay, so we did this one. I believe on Wednesday we're going to do the next 4 ones, at least, maybe 5. How long was it? 26 minutes. So like maybe 6 actually. And then the next 3 and step 2 beginning on Friday and then Saturday. Yeah. Also, we didn't get a photo, unfortunately. That's sad. Let's save it here. Oh my goodness, there's so many saves. Okay, we have a save, we have everything. Let's get back to menu. Is this the same tutorial? Okay, I think it is, yes. Yeah, we have this one. Okay, so there are only 4 to get. Oh, okay. I didn't know I can do that already. I hope it won't save. Because I want to see how my Kov will look like. DLC info, here it is. Installed, not installed. Wedding DLC info. I don't know how we can get to the Baxter and Derek. Anyway, that's gonna be it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you back on Wednesday. Bye bye!